What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 473, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a few special guests during this episode, and those are swimming trio and brothers Sanders, Will, and Coleman. Modglin, how are you guys doing today?
Good, good.
Doing
How are you doing?
doing great.
Doing good. Appreciate you guys joining. I know that you guys have been busy, especially Will. I know you just got back from a swim competition with Team USA not too long ago, so I'm excited to talk a little bit about that. But just want to kind of get started with just your guys' story. Just like, what was life like as kids when you kind of started swimming? Like, were you guys pretty competitive? Did you guys kind of grow up in a swimming family? Or was it truly one of you guys that really started out kind of the whole path to joining the sport of swimming?
Well, our parents met lifeguarding at a pool, the natatorium downtown Indy, and then they both swam in high school, and my mom a little bit in college. But then they kind of just threw us in the pool as babies, and then we did summer league swimming, and then got into Zionsville club swimming, and Um, I don't know. We've all just kind of grown up by the pool, spend our whole summers at the pool. So
Yeah, I would just say the same thing. Yeah, I mean, swimming, we definitely came from, I think, a swimming family. It definitely was not a, like, we did other sports. Like, we all played soccer, we all did some youth basketball and some flag football. But I think swimming was the one consistent sport in our family that didn't matter really what we did in the fall or spring, every summer at least when we were younger, we always had summer league where us three all got to be on the same team and kind of be a little closer than we were with club swimming, which I think was a very crucial thing that like helped us just stay in the sport and develop that I think that love for the sport that us three all have for it. And I mean that just continued I think our interest in swimming throughout the years, and then one thing just led to another with both of our parents both being coaches. One thing led to another, and we couldn't really escape from the pool, even if we weren't on the team. We were around, and you were watching your brothers. I spent a lot of time watching my brothers in the stands when I wasn't swimming, and it was like, well, I might as well just join the team and be down there with them instead of sitting up here. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And obviously, growing up in a family that has a history of swimming and also being on the same team, what was it like being on the same team with each other? Like growing up just swimming, like were you guys pretty competitive? Were you guys kind of like different like approaches when it came to swimming? Was one maybe more motivated than the other? Were you guys just kind of trying to beat each other, or was it more of just like trying to push each other to get better?
well, that question is loaded with like we can go lots of years. I can I can start with Highland swimming, and that's our country club, like our summer league team, where our dad was coaching. And I mean, being on a team together was just awesome. Like once we started getting older too, it was like okay, like I have the 15, 16 age group. Coleman's got the the 13, 14s, and Will's got the 9 or 10 or whatever, and so that was awesome. And then like as we started getting older, Coleman and I started becoming coaches while Will was still on the team, and just having him like kind of coaching him. Um, and then Zionsville practices, like in the summers, we would always build a fort upstairs in our loft, and we would sleep in the fort for the whole summer, like 2 months. And it was like, okay, we got to get up for club practice, Zionsville club practice in the mornings. And I would say Coleman was probably like the hardest one to get up, and we would be, barely making it on time. But
that's
Coleman was the brother out of all three of us who like stayed with swimming. Like that was definitely his sport, and Will and I kind of dabbled into some other sports. I really liked soccer a lot, and until swimming kind of was the okay, I'm a little better at swimming than I am soccer. So that's kind of, continued down the swimming path in college.
I just remember being excited each summer going to Highland. We have this game. It's basically sharks and minnows, but just coming back each summer and just being faster than you were the year before, just so you could get to the other side of the pool a little bit quicker. But then that turned into club swimming, like Sanders said. I think I started. There was one summer we built a fort, and I was the only brother doing club swimming. I remember thinking, man, this kind of sucks. But it was fun when my brothers joined me the next summer because then all three of us were doing it and jumping into the freezing water. It was something that all three of us shared, so it was nice. Then, yeah, joining the high school team, I was always told by Sanders he got to experience that first, obviously, and he always shared that that was just so much fun, and that was the most fun because you're on a team. It's a very team centered thing, and in club swimming, it's not so much of a team sport. So that was a lot of fun to finally be able to swim high school with Sanders, and then continue that with William later on. Yeah, I think for me, looking at it, I think we all had. I think Coleman and Sanders kind of had their competition between them two, and then I would say me and Coleman. Once Sanders went off to college, it was like then I started coming up, and then it was me and Coleman had our kind of rivalry, and then it started to be me and Sanders also. It was just like different events. It was always different events. Like I think Sanders and Coleman have a story with their like triple crown race. I don't know what you guys did, but one summer they raced like it was like 250s of two different strokes and then 100 IM, just because it was probably originated at some dinner conversation where they just started talking trash to each other. And then I was like, all right, let's go to the pool and see if you can back it up or not. And I think that's a lot of where our kind of friendly competitions come from. I think I won all three races of the Triple Crown.
Oh, no, 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 no.
It was 100 IM, a 50 breaststroke, and then Sanders thought he could beat me doing butterfly when I did freestyle for a 50. No, and I took all three of them.
Was that really one of our races?
Yeah.
Well, that was a bad, yeah. That was a bad bet.
I was just gonna say it sounds like that wasn't the greatest bet on your end, Sanders.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But our 100 IM is pretty close. It's like half a second.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, how often did you guys kind of do that growing up? Like, have those conversations or have those bets, and then you just like jump in the pool like the next day and just have those like quote unquote kind of competitions between each other. And do you think that kind of really helped you guys get better and maybe more motivated to eventually start swimming in college?
I think I think every time we're either at the dinner table, we are at a pool, or just honestly wherever we are, where I think two of us at least are together. I mean, trash talk just starts, and then it's if we're in a pool, I mean it. I think every single time we're in a pool, we'll think of some challenge where we'll try and race or something where we can compete in. And I mean, I think that just helped. I mean, and that was all throughout our ages, like all throughout while we were growing up, and a multitude of different things. We're playing with from playing with like Nerf guns to swimming in the pool. I think, and I think that definitely just helped develop kind of a competitive spirit within us three that I think allowed us to be able to compete on the college level. So.
And I know too, you guys are quote unquote retired college swimmers. Do you guys still do that anymore? Or obviously, you might not be able to do that as much, kind of being in different places. But that does that still kind of happen, or now because too you guys are retired, it's more of just like kind of swimming's past my endpoint at this point.
Oh no, we still do that 100%. I think Sanders and I raced 100 IM like uh, close to a month ago, and then I mean Will just got back from Berlin, and I'm still talking trash to him Coleman, I think it was Friday. This literally 2 days ago, Friday night, was saying he could beat me in a 50 breast, like talking trash, and I was like, "There's no way."
So yeah, it definitely still continues.
It's one of those things. It's like obviously Will is like we can't really race Will anymore. Like maybe it's like if I'm okay, Will, you do 100 and I do a 75 sort of thing. But now it's like different competitions in the pool, like water basketball or our new favorite game, Gladiator, and that's like almost like you're trying to get the other guy like to the other side of the pool. Um, but like Coleman and I still have our battles now.
Who is the
And
best
I
at
know one day
Gladiator?
when Will's retired, he's gonna join our swim battles.
I was just gonna say, who's the best at Gladiator? Who usually wins?
That is,
I've taken top reins now. Last time we played, I was taking control of the game.
I would have to face Will, but I would say myself. I
Third tier.
I recently took Dad and Sanders down, so I would have to face Will, but I don't know.
Coleman's the strongest, but like Will has this wingspan that's just crazy. Like he can just wrap you up. It's like I'm 6'4", like I shouldn't be getting wrapped up like this.
I love how eventually I end up going to Will, but at first there was a little bit of a disagreement of who was going to win. But it seems like maybe at least from Sanders' end, he's like, yeah, maybe beating Will is a little bit tough.
I haven't faced Will in Gladiator in a bit. I do
Because you're always
remember-
on my team getting carried.
We like to do the young guys versus the old guys, so that is always a fun matchup. Because this is Will and I against my dad and Sanders. It's nice that we have our dad too, so we got a four in our group.
Who usually wins, the young guys or the old guys?
That'd be the young
Young guys. Young guys.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, do you agree with them, Sanders? But it seems like you do.
Yeah. We can edit that out.
Absolutely. But I think it's kind of ironic, though, the whole situation of like how growing up Coleman was like the most difficult one to get to the pool, but at the same time he was like the most motivated to swim. Like that kind of seems contradictory of each other.
I don't know. I would have a different take. I don't want to sidetrack your whole podcast here, but you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that we can have a complete argument on this podcast if you guys want of who thinks the most difficult. Who at least seem to enjoy going to the pool, like for early morning practices, like having that motivation. Obviously, like no one truly wants to. I don't know if you actually admit you want to. I think you're completely lying about that. But like maybe one of you guys are. I don't know. Was anyone like super motivated of going to 5 a.m., 6 a.m. practice, or was anyone just super excited to go to swimming?
I don't think any of us were really excited, but I think I was definitely the easiest to go to morning practice. Coleman and Sanders both definitely. I heard stories about when I remember being in high school with Coleman and he was driving me to practice and having stories, him telling me stories. I was like, I just really do not want to go to practice. And I mean, he would keep me, I think when I was a freshman, keep me in line going to practice a lot, like days where I didn't want to. But I think that just helped develop the kind of consistency for me. But I remember him telling me stories of what him and Sanders would do. Some days where one day, I got to tell him the best buys, where they just said one day, they were like, I really do not want to go to practice, I guess. And it was like raining out and they just went to a Best Buy, and this Best Buy by our house had like this like movie section with these couches, like with the TVs that they sell. And apparently Sanders and Coleman just sat there and just like were on their phones or tablets, just play like, and just were in the Best Buy during practice time. And then on the way home, they just stuck their heads out of the windows to get their hair wet. So when they got home, they could say they went to practice with my
Hey, everybody needs a day off every once in a while, you know? I remember that day. That was a fun day.
I love that
memories.
dedication.
Never
Love the
happened to me and
dedication.
Coleman. Coleman never took me.
We also went to Target and got some popcorn, and yeah, It was good.
You
Was that the best day? Was that the best day of quote unquote going to practice?
Um, I did enjoy going to practice,
Right,
but
and then
I,
the
I, I,
ball.
I do think that, it, a good day off is nice every once in a while.
Yeah, the ball. It's summer.
I think as you get older, you get like I got more into going to practice. Like I just love I don't know, like I just like the daily grind of practice as opposed to meets. Like I don't know, that's just kind of how I like ended up. Um, and I love just waking up. And there was one summer I was doing nights actually, working at Amazon. So I would work from like 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. and then I would make like a protein shake and then like wake Coleman and Will up and then we would go to practice together. That was pretty fun.
That doesn't sound fun at all. Maybe
Yeah.
it's fun to you, but to me that sounds absolutely awful.
like yeah, I would just go to bed right after it though. I knew I was, go to practice and then go to bed.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that's kind of a good point of like the older you get, the more you kind of get into swimming. It probably more feels like it's your sport than maybe when you started out at a young age. It kind of felt like, I don't want to say you guys were kind of like forced to go, but like it was kind of like a family thing. But then when you finally got older, kind of felt like, hey, this is my sport, even though my brothers, my parents did the sport as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, you guys have been swimming for a while. What kind of events do you guys swim? Did they change over your career, or have you guys kind of had similar events?
We do kind of all swim, I think, different events, which is kind of cool. I mean, there's a little overlap, but for the most part, I think we all kind of grew into our own kind of specialty, which was really cool to see. But I think we all had different events growing up, and then just kind of happened. I think once we got to high school, and that was kind of when we started to individualize what we were actually, I think, really good at, or what event we really were specialized at, and went from there. But I mean, growing up, yeah, we all swam kind of the same stuff. I think Coleman was maybe a little bit more specialized in breaststroke, but other than that, I think we all kind of swam just a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a 50, 100 free. Like those are my favorite. Coleman's the breaststroke specialist, and then I mean Will is backstroke, but honestly everything.
It was
Will's
fun
good
and
at everything, it sounds like.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit.
maybe like he starts falling off like at distance stuff. I wouldn't say you're like a mile guy, but I think you could still rip a 500.
it was nice like growing up and then in high school our high school team was maybe a little bit more loaded when Sanders was older and I was a bit younger, so um, I maybe got to hop in like one or two relays with him at like senior state, but by the time Will was in high school, he was a freshman when I was a senior, and he was fast enough to be on those A relays with me at the time, and that was a lot of fun because it was like, well, I don't have to worry about backstroke because I got Will. I trust him with that, and it was nice. It was fun to compete together, but also you just like I trust my brothers too with their legs, so that was nice.
Yeah, there was one summer, 2018, where our long course club, like Indiana State long course meet, where all three of us got to be on Zionsville's A relay, which was awesome. It was like Will backstroke, Coleman breaststroke, and then our buddy Jack Donovan butterfly, and then I got to anchor, which was awesome.
Yeah, how cool was it getting to swim and be on the same relay as each other at that one time?
It's pretty fun. It's like, it's like I've done relays with Coleman before, like being a senior when he was a freshman, but like I've never got to do a relay with Will, like at an, a meet where it like counted. So it's like, okay, Will, like, like I feel like the old guy on that relay.
I have a funny story about that meet. It was senior state, but Sanders was an absolute trooper. He was like, "I'm gonna swim this race," and that was I think the only day that he swam that meet. But he was just so terribly sick the rest of that meet. And so for this relay, but he was determined to swim this relay because this was the first time he was ever going to be on a relay with Will. And well, just all three of us together. But yeah, more importantly, he's like first time he gets to be on a relay with Will, and he jumps in like. I think he like snorted some C4 before the race, and he jumped in for the freestyle with like white powder over his nose, looking like a maniac. But he had a good split, and then the rest of the meet he was just at home, I think, in bed because he was just so sick after that. But he gave it a resolve for that race, and it was awesome. But just
Yeah,
died
I was,
laughing.
I was telling mom and dad that I could not swim like the rest of that meet. I said I'm good for a 50, which the first day of that meet is just the 200 free relay and the 200 medley relay. So I, swam 250s. That took it all out of me. And I was like, there's no way I was swimming down and back the next day. And I remember mom was like, no, you're swimming tomorrow. And I woke up that next morning at 4 a.m. just puking in the toilet. And I don't know, I think I still had to pay them like $50 to exit the meet.
Hey, look what Sanders did for you guys. Is he gave it all, like physically and mentally. Like he's throwing up the next day at 4 a.m. just to
He
swim with
did.
you guys.
He did.
I just
I think that's awesome.
It was awesome because I got to be on that end of the pool with him because the breaststroke and freestyler were standing together. So Will's like getting ready to jump in the pool. Sanders is like takes his C4. I'm just jumping in the pool, just like laughing, swimming as fast as I can. But I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
I was just gonna say, how are you not laughing the same time you were swimming?
I,
Are you trying your best not to, or did you just start laughing and you just swam through it?
I probably was, but I feel like I'm pretty good about locking in and snapping into it. Once you actually dive in the water, it's like okay, I know what I need to do. But it was just funny to watch because he was just you could tell his body was shutting down, and that was the last. That was like that was
Last bit of energy.
yeah, that was it.
I think it was a C4 probably that helped too.
That's what I think too.
That's awesome, and obviously that's going to be a story that you guys are going to have for a long time. It's also going to be a story that's going to be up on this podcast, so hopefully a lot of people hear that story. So don't know how many people know about it, but now hopefully a lot more people know. It's one of the greatest stories that has ever been told on this podcast, if not the greatest one. So I think that's incredible, that story.
Yeah, not advised, not recommended.
I'll make sure to put a warning right before this
Yeah.
comes.
Do not repeat any of these actions.
Exactly. But you guys talked about kind of going into high school when you kind of start to like specialize, kind of figure out a little bit more like what you guys were going to do. Was that really when you guys kind of realized like swimming in college was possible? Or was it kind of like before then where you all kind of realized, hey, there's a possibility, but then it started to click a little bit in high school?
I honestly liked soccer more than swimming in high school, and I thought, like, I grew up going to lots of like college classics and showdowns, and like I was, oh, maybe I'm gonna play soccer in college, and then like got cut senior year, so then it was like I got to swim. I didn't get to just do high school senior year. I got to do club, which means you start in September or like August. Yeah, so I got to start in August, and then I remember in October of like senior year, like it was my first time under 50 seconds in the 100 free, and I mean way back in 16. That's decent. Swimflation is real, but it's like wow, I can. Swimming's one of those sports where you can like physically, like you can check times on college swimming and you can see if you're actually, where you would stack up. So it's like okay, like that would actually stack up at, the D2, D3 level. And then I dropped more time at my state meet and in March, and then I was like, okay, yeah, like I can, I'm a valued member on a team, like on a D2 team. So that was kind of my path.
My take on it, I feel like I just swimming and I enjoyed it, and I didn't really ever think about not swimming in college. It was just like I just kind of just thought that was the path I was gonna go down, and I don't want to say expected it to happen, but it was like all right, I think I'm good enough. I remember watching. We went to NCAA's for men's back in 2018 and watching Caleb Dressler
17.
go like, oh, no, he went 40.00 the night we were there in the 100 free. And just, you can't really fathom how fast that is when you're, I mean, that still is wicked fast today. But when you're a kid, so like I knew I was doing well at these age group meets. I knew I was doing well at the junior national meets. But I knew the college guys were just in a totally different league with like watching that meet. Like you can't even fathom going that fast. So I just talked to some schools, and then we found I really liked Purdue, and I wanted to go there. And then when I got a spot offered to me, I was pretty ecstatic about that. So I was just really happy that it all came together.
I think for me, being the youngest, I mean, I saw Sanders and Coleman go through both of their recruiting processes, and I mean, I think mine was pretty similar to Coleman, where I mean, I was still in middle school when Sanders was going through the process of being recruited and stuff, and I mean, I was I was pretty like fast already in middle school. I think that's kind of started when I started to break out a little bit. So for me, I mean, I was always looking at where other people were when they were my age who were older than me. So I mean, I saw a lot of like what they were doing, and I was like, okay, I'm this fast. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it was pretty similar to Coleman, where I think it never really wasn't in my mind like, oh, what would it be like if I just like didn't swim in college? Like, I don't think that was ever something that wasn't like in my mind. And then our dad always said too. I mean, he said it to me, and probably said it to Coleman and Sanders also. It's like, um, it doesn't matter what division like you go to. Like the trophies all look the same. So I mean, I think that was like a big thing in my head. I was like, okay, I mean, I knew like from when I was even younger, like if I wanted to swim in college, like I don't need to be the best of the best to swim there. And I mean, yeah, once it ended up happening, like once I started getting to that point where we started getting recruited and stuff for my class, I mean, it just kind of like, in a way, it kind of felt surreal because it was just like, it just felt like that's what it was supposed to be, but at the same time, it was like, is this actually like happening? Like, am I actually fast? And like it wasn't, didn't feel real, like with it happening. I don't know how else to explain it, but I mean, I think it was just always has kind of been there though that was the plan. So.
Do you think it got a little bit easier from your guys' perspective, kind of having Sanders go through that whole process of what it was like his senior year, kind of trying to find what school he wanted to go to, and then Sanders from your end, like what was it like being kind of the first one, at least out of your brothers? I know you said that your mom swam a little bit. Did she kind of help you out, or was it just kind of more of a trying to figure out through the experience? And then, so when you kind of figured out and kind of how the whole process worked, did you kind of help provide a little bit of advice, or did you kind of let Will and Coleman do their own thing?
My process, like recruiting process, was totally different from theirs. I mean, Will And Coleman is like, I mean, the moment sophomore year or whatever in the summer when the recruitment window opens, like college coaches are flooding their inboxes. Mine was a much different like story where you have to reach out to the coach sort of thing, and you get lots of like rejection stuff, and then okay, what team actually you know like wants me, like what team, um, and I think I tried to pass down some tips and tricks to them, like, or just what programs, what I had heard about certain programs or not, and try to, just offer what I know, to help their process. But Purdue and Texas were great choices.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what was your guys' experience like, just kind of going through that whole kind of like process? It always seemed like it was kind of like it was a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, Sanders talking about us getting those emails too. That all changed my year. I was the first like class that was able to receive those emails as juniors in high school, which was really cool. But also really new. That process was a little weird because Purdue was the school I wanted to go to. I was talking to some other schools, and some schools may have had it more figured out than others. I kind of had to do some reaching out to Purdue in the beginning or a little bit later on, because you do kind of look at the inbox and see, okay, who messaged me. You look at that list, but uh, messaging juniors was so new. So some schools were maybe not quite as on top of it, or just not like it was a brand new thing. So
Yeah.
I kind of had to reach out to Purdue. So that was my experience of it all. But the process, once I started talking to them, it was pretty smooth, I'd say, for me at least. I went on a visit, like people do, and I really clicked with the team. I liked the facilities. I liked the academics that they had there, and it was a really attractive school to me. So it was an obvious choice once I kind of got to meet everyone there and visit West Lafayette for the first time.
Yeah, I think my process. Yeah, it looked pretty like weird. Like I think I was at Olympic trials when recruiting all opened up, and I think for all of us, our dad was a big help. He was a college coach at UIndy in Indianapolis, and kind of did the whole recruiting thing. He recruited kind of started the international floodgates, he likes to say, towards the U.S. and college swimming. Uh, so got to give him that credit. He'll love that. But he kind of helped all of us a lot at kind of analyzing what schools are reaching out, like what are our top choices, like why are they our top choices, and what would we benefit from going to a certain place with our athletics, academics, and just our whole life essentially after that with friends and such. And he was a big help with, I think, for me at least, he was my filter of colleges. So, he was my kind of my contact information for college coaches to reach out in the first place. So, he was a big help in just kind of filtering out, like just telling me which colleges have reached out. And then from there, we were able to filter out the colleges that I actually wanted to pursue and talk to, and then the ones that I didn't really I wasn't interested in as much. So he was a super big help. And just going through that whole process, you just kind of have to slow it down and enjoy it. There wasn't, us three all kind of went through, there were similar experiences, but also all completely different. So, there really was not much where they can we can help navigate like each other's lives, I think, because it was totally different. But it was definitely a cool experience to go through. And yeah, Coleman was at Purdue, and I talked to Purdue for a little bit. So I mean, obviously, he was able to help me like kind of sell me on Purdue a little bit, but I mean, I had these guys to tell me what college is going to be like and what to expect at a program. So.
Yeah, even though you guys had different experiences, you all had a similar experience of quote unquote transitioning to college swimming. Even though you each were at different levels, different teams, what was that transition like from high school swimming to college swimming when it comes to yards, when it comes to intensity? How different was that like? And just how different does it feel like from D2 to D1? Do you guys like talk about that very much? Of like what kind of practices you guys did, the intensity of it? Is it pretty similar? Do you all kind of have a little bit different like stories and quote unquote welcome to college moments when it comes to that transition?
I feel like we all maybe had different experiences with our strokes at least too, because maybe Will and Sanders can relate more, but even then, Will, I guess, yeah, they can probably relate a little bit better. I can think of some breaststroke sets that I saw that I doubt Sanders or Will would ever have to touch. But we talked about the differences, and it's cool to hear what different programs have to offer and the experiences of them all.
I mean, Zionsville is a top tier club, and the practices we did there, prepared us really well for, I think, our collegiate training programs. Our like every coach is in programs a little different, and our program kind of focused on more yardage, I would say, in like the first couple of years at SVSU. So it was like, okay, just adjusting your shoulders, like, and your body to more yardage on you. Zionsville, we do like some shorter yardage and just more like up and go sprints. And then, but I mean, we were used to like the practice times, the 2 days, the long practices on Saturdays. That was the hours remained the same in college.
How did you like having more yardage when you're not used to maybe as much as you were doing prior to SBSU?
Um, I don't know, like it makes you a better practicer maybe, but I mean for a throwdown sprinter, like I like the 50 free. That's my favorite event. So it's just not an effective training for like what you're like. It more targets maybe the 200 or 500 guys or mile guys even, but it's not gonna really help a sprinter. So I didn't like it.
Understandable. Like you obviously want to have more practice kind of deemed to be more like stuff that really helps you out. And as sprinters, as guys that don't swim as much distance, like you probably want maybe less yards, but also maybe a little bit higher intensity to kind of get used to that race pace, get used to what it's like to kind of go at race speed. And I'm sure that Will and Coleman probably agrees with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So obviously, like I said, different levels, but for Will and Coleman, both of you are D1 athletes. What's just the training like? What's kind of like the discipline you have, not only as like a swimmer at the D1 level, but also as an athlete as well? Because a lot of people view like D1 athletes like, hey, you get like all this like cool stuff, you get all this like cool gear, you get all this kind of certain level of like D1 compared to D2, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Like I have full respect for you, Sanders, for swimming D2, but for a lot of people, they might have that opinion on D1 versus D2.
My view on swimming is very. I think that we're very fortunate to be in the position that we're in. Why some people go so fast in swimming, I can't explain. I can't tell you why Leon goes how fast Leon swims, but I think as far as like the training aspect, I think I give credit to all divisions. Honestly, I think everyone trains. Nah, this is my take. I'd say we all do about the same thing. And it's all we're all putting in 20 hours a week at the end of the day, and that's going to vary with the training and the sets, like I was saying. Um, but I feel like it is very. There are certain perks that you get going and being part of a Division 1 program, which is just awesome, and it definitely help. And I just felt super lucky to be a part of a program that had some extra stuff for us, but that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, swimming Division 1. I mean, it's pretty similar to Coleman. I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, I was training, like training wise, you're doing the same stuff. Like I'm training, doing the exact same stuff, getting beat some like a lot of times by guys who maybe weren't as fast as me when it comes to um, throwing down when it's an actual race. And I mean, that's just how it is. And I mean, yeah, swimming D1, it comes with a lot of different, I think, pressures and stress. And a lot of people think it's like, oh, like you have no time for academics or anything like that. Especially being a swimmer, because we do have so much time commitments with doubles almost every day and weights and meets that we're gone for. And I mean, it is a super big time commitment, but I think, I mean, a lot of swimmers, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but a lot of swimmers all throughout their whole careers, even starting now, I feel like, I mean, it's getting earlier and earlier, but at least everyone who's swam through high school has kind of had to develop that same schedule of waking up early for a morning practice and then having to manage like schoolwork and maybe a job also. I mean, I know lots of people who had to manage a lot of different extracurricular activities in high school and even still in college. And I mean, it's not as impossible as I think a lot of people think it to be. Like a lot of people think college athletes are just freaks or they just care about one thing more than the other, and you can't be smart and also be an athlete or things like that. And that's just not the case at all. I mean, I feel like it just develops a sense of discipline and time management, and and especially swimming does. Like I feel like some of the smartest people I know are a lot of swimmers, just because I mean a lot of people know what hard work gets you, and swimming's going to do that for you. So
Yeah, it really feels like swimming's one of those sports that you kind of get in what you put into it. Maybe not like again, like kind of like we talked about earlier. Like not everyone is going to be like a Caleb Dressel. Not everyone's going to be a Kayla Decky. Not everyone's going to be the top men and women in the country and the world. Like that just isn't meant for everyone. But everyone obviously puts in that time, puts in the hours that you guys put in. How important for each one of you throughout your career is kind of getting used to like that time management and that importance of maybe physically kind of being ready to practice, physically being ready to compete, but also not mentally letting it affect you. Because like if you let it overcome you, then your performance might go down a little bit.
I think it's I think it's a never ending process. I don't know what these guys have to say about it, but I mean, me still having 2 years left of my collegiate career, I feel like I'm still working on that. Like it still hasn't gone away, or I mean, it's gotten a little more easy maybe, but it's still I still have to remind myself, okay, like you got to get this work done before you go to this meet. That way you don't have the stress like sitting in the back of your head, oh man, I need to finish a project and stuff. And I think a lot of what helped me is like kind of just developing a sense of rhythm for if I do have practice and I have work or something, like I mean, sometimes it probably wasn't the best in high school, but I like days where I would have speeches. I kind of looked forward to those days where I was able to have a morning practice before because I was like, okay, I can go over my speech for, I get an extra 2 hours where I would have probably not been up, where I can practice my speech in my head while I'm swimming or just even with my teammates. Like I'd be like, listen to this. And then I would just ramble them my whole speech, like in the locker room or while we're on the wall, like just practicing. And I think they probably didn't like me for it, but it helped. And I think a lot of those moments help a lot. And I mean, everyone's going through the same stuff around you. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you just are surrounded by a community where I feel like everyone understands, okay, this is what needs to happen. And a lot of people will help each other out. So it's a very, very good community, I feel like, and support system.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the time management you get from swimming is transitioned well for, your professional career now, like Coleman and I, and, you have to, now we're working 40, 50 hours a week and then, just life, and you still have to work out and stay in shape, and, you have to go grocery shopping, and you have to now I plan a wedding. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do and not a lot of time to what we were talking about earlier, just like gaming or, throwing away the hours in the day.
Well, congratulations, Sanders, on
Yeah,
the wedding.
thank you.
Do you guys still, Sanders and Coleman, do you guys still swim at all, or is it not as much as it used to be?
It's definitely not as much. Like, I don't think there's any retired collegiate swimmer that practices more than what they used to. Like, that would be really hard to do.
Yeah.
I'll get in maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, or some months it might just be once a month or over like a couple months off. But I like getting in and just I don't know for 30 minutes or so, swimming a mile or I don't know, just doing some 25s.
Doing what you like, sprint, 25, 50?
Yeah, just sprinting 25s. But yeah, no more, no more long stuff.
Yeah.
Right now, I do like spending a lot of time at the pool. Maybe not doing laps right now. I would like to get back into it, but it is like watching Will. It's really exciting because I feel like we're living vicariously through what he's doing, and when he throws down a good time, I mean, I just want to jump in the pool and swim some laps. I can't explain why, but I'd like to get back into it and swim some more.
Yeah, and there's probably that little bit of motivation there, maybe watching him go the time, and you're like, let me try to do it, or let me try to get as close as possible to his time.
Oh, yeah.
So before we kind of get into the last couple of questions, one thing that a lot of people kind of have the opinion on swimmers is that you guys don't like to run. Is that pretty true? Do you swim because you don't like to necessarily run?
I don't know. I I did a mile for I think that's totally true. I mean, there was two instances where this year we did like a run on Thanksgiving, like a lot of families do, and all of us did it. And I mean, I just came home from my big mid-season meet where I mean, it was kind of like a breakout meet for me in a way where I went a lot of best times, and I mean they were really good in the country so far and for college. And I mean, I got back and we're doing this turkey trot, and I forget how many miles it was, like maybe like 3 miles. And I mean, I haven't, huh?
A 5K, yeah,
Yeah.
3.2.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know. We just pulled up. I mean, we didn't warm up or stretch or anything. We just pulled up and decided to run it. And
You leave early.
yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. Like, we're like running midway through, and midway through, I'm like, you know what? I'm at like my peak athleticism right now in the pool. I'm like, there is no need for me to run like right now. And I mean, I was dying. Like they were smoking me because they trained a little bit for it because they had the time to outside of the water. But I mean, I had zero running experience, and I just turned around and went home early. And I mean, I ran a mile earlier this week, and my legs are still have not recovered from it. Like it is hard, but it's like, yeah, I try and avoid it whenever I can.
You are probably like, what the heck? Like I just did mid-season, now I have to do the turkey trot. Luckily, I have never had to do the turkey trot, so let me knock on wood. I don't want to be anywhere involved in a turkey trot. Who wants to run 3 miles on Thanksgiving? I just want to eat as much as possible, and I'm sure that you guys are probably the same way.
Well, yeah, it helps you eat more, so you have to do the turkey trot. I think like just running though, it's like different stress on your body. Like I like running, like trying to get in my cardio now. Like it's easier to go for a run than trying to go to the pool sometimes. I mean you can run anywhere, but yeah, different stresses on your body. I think like growing up playing soccer, like I don't know, I kind of like grew up like doing running more. Coleman's a pretty good runner. Like we would run during COVID, and we would just like run on the road and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like running.
I was just going to say COVID had to be a weird time as well for you guys as swimmers.
But yeah,
Yeah, it felt like running was the only option then. That's why we got into it. But I think I'll hop on the treadmill every once in a while. Sanders is motivating me to do that a little bit more now. He's got some good goals for himself, and so I try to stay active with the cardio and luckily my job I get to walk around a little bit, so I get to stretch my legs during the day. It makes me feel better about about myself, but yeah, I think definitely growing up and through high school and college, it was nice just being able to do a swim practice and then eat whatever you want and then not have to run. That was nice.
Have you noticed a difference now in not being competitive swimmers anymore for Sanders and Coleman?
like in terms of eating or.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, once you stop swimming, I think I gained like 15 pounds by graduation. Like it's crazy how fast like how much it stops. But yeah. Okay. I've lost the weight. Okay, but there there is like balancing because you get done with swimming and you're like I never want to touch the pool again. And there's a lot of past swimmers who never touch a pool again. It's like they're done. But
Yeah.
I like staying in shape and it's like okay, just being healthy and you have to do cardio now. You can't just lift weights or you have to find that cardio time too now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That makes complete sense. And I kind of want to talk about the future, but a little bit of the past. I kind of want to go towards 2028 a little bit because the U.S. has the Olympics in 2028. The trials are going to happen as well. And I know for Will and Coleman, both of you have gotten, at least in the past, have gotten a chance to compete at Olympic trials. What was that experience like? Not only competing in front of thousands of fans, but also swimming against the best swimmers in the country. And then also, I know will talk about that here shortly. You've also gotten to compete against some of the best swimmers in the world. And then Sanders, on your end, how cool is it kind of watching them compete at trials? And also, are you allowed, like, if you wanted to, could you jump in the Olympic trial pool, like, or is that only kind of allowed for like the swimmers?
No, only for the swimmers, unfortunately. I think it would be chaos in the pool if they allowed it anyone.
I'll say it was pretty cool training for those meets. The first one, like trials, 2021, was fun. This past one in Indy was awesome. just trying to get that cut after my own graduation was just kind of a crazy journey for me. So I was really amped up when I finally got that cut, and just being able to be there. The way I see it, Will's going to be swimming, so I'd rather be there swimming too. So, a lot of people call me crazy for swimming after graduation, but I thought it was a cool potential capstone too. My swimming career, and ending things in Indy was super cool. And the company that built the pool, it's actually the company I now work for. So it would be really cool if I got the chance to build the future pool in 2028 when they come back to Indy. So yeah,
And swim the 50 breaths
swim a 50 breast. Yes,
in the pool.
you come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think trials is, yeah, I mean, it's a once in a lifetime experience, and doing it in 21 and like 24. Um, both were awesome experiences, but I think Indy was like especially a super cool experience because I mean, we were at the COVID trials, which I mean, I wouldn't even compare that. Like, we swam in the pool and such, but I mean, we didn't have the packed stands. Like, there was cardboard cutouts in there, and every so often seats you see people with their masks on and stuff. So it wasn't, I feel like, a true trials, whereas like this year in Indy was like, it was truly special to kind of like walk out, and I mean, you're kind of just like,
I think it peaked at like 22,000 people.
Yeah.
So
I
that was
mean,
just awesome.
it was insane every time you walked out. And then I mean, I was able to be grateful and fortunate enough to swim in a couple finals there. And I mean, it was really cool walking out for those because I mean, the Indy natives definitely got a little bit more love than I felt like the other swimmers. And like hearing just the roar of the crowd was honestly like just super cool. Like it was like every time I was swimming in the pool too, I was just trying to like soak in every moment of it because I know it's only gonna. I mean, I'm probably only gonna do it one more time. So, I mean, just soaking it all in was just an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, I mean, just going to those meets is crazy, and watching Coleman and Will, and everyone is texting me, watching your brothers, and so that's super cool. And then just seeing the support from all the Zionsville guys there, and like the Purdue guys that drive down and like to watch, and it just there's definitely a home crowd roar like extra for them. It's awesome, awesome meet.
Yeah, and it was also in the Indianapolis Colts stadium as well.
At Lucas Oil, like it was amazing.
I'd say it was cool in Omaha with the cardboard cutouts because you're racing 7 other people. So I remember distinctly hearing my parents screaming. Where in Indy, you couldn't really hear what voice was coming from where, but I remember that in Omaha.
When you guys are swimming, like in the middle of like a race, can you hear the crowd, or is it more of like everything just kind of like blacks out and it's just kind of like silence?
I mean, for me, I don't. I mean, I'm doing backstroke, so most of the time my head's in the water. Coleman probably can't, but I mean, for me, the only time I think I've ever really heard stuff is either like right on the start, I can hear like when people cheer, or I distinctively remember this year at midseason in prelims of the 100 back. It's first time breaking 44, and I came off the last turn and I was underwater, and I could hear my coach Bob's whistle, which was a very distinctive, just high pitched like whistle, like, and I could hear it underwater, so I knew like, okay, I mean, I must be going somewhat fast. Like hearing how much and how hard he was whistling, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I must be going like somewhat good. But that's about, I think, the extent of what I can hear.
I feel like my experience would be more about what you're saying, like blacking out. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Moon Knight, where he just goes like, and then just wakes up. But that was, I feel like in breaststroke, I don't know, at least for me, You can maybe hear them when you breathe, but like I would jump in, and then you're just thinking about everything that you're doing, making sure you're doing everything right, and then you just touch the wall and the race is over, and then you hear people cheering. So that's kind of how I felt.
Making sure you're doing a legal stroke as well, so you don't get DQ'd.
Yes, very important.
That seems like the one stroke, especially in the Olympics, that really seems like the one that most people DQ on.
I was just talking about this the other day. I said it frustrates me a little bit watching breaststroke because with the addition of underwater cameras, people that have clean strokes obviously have no issues, but the people that have a iffier stroke or saw some blatant double dolphin kicks here at the World Meet, some people, they were replaying on the underwater camera. And it's sad to see that because breaststroke's the only stroke where people can kind of blatantly cheat, and they'll do it until they get to a meet where there's an underwater camera, which unfortunately our sport just, if you're at a high school meet, I mean, taking 5 dolphin kicks, you're probably not going to get caught, which I never did. But it is a little frustrating to see because you can make it all the way to that big meet and then you get DQ'd. That's why I think there are so many DQs, because you have people that have never run into the immovable object, which is the underwater camera. Yeah.
Didn't the NCAA just pass something though that they can use underwater cameras for like this upcoming NCAA season?
I think they were talking about it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that went through.
I don't think it was official yet.
I sure hope so.
Hey, maybe it'll fix some people's stroke or the technique that they do it so that they don't cheat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It did seem like you hinted a little bit that maybe you've done 5 dolphin kicks in high school a little bit.
No, my dolphin kicks were never good enough. They wouldn't have helped me that much.
Slowed him down.
Yeah.
So it would have hurt him if he did more than less.
I think I actually did some pullouts without dolphin kicks because it was just not worthwhile to throw one in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Will, you talked about Bob, and you coached Bob. And for anyone that doesn't know, if you're listening to this, I feel like you have to know Bob Bowman, best coach in the entire world for a lot of people. I don't know if that's arguable. At least he's coached a lot of extremely great Olympians, some of the best, if not the best swimmers in the world. What is it like having him as a coach and kind of going through one of his practices? Because I've heard things online about his practices. They seem brutal.
Yeah, he actually loves when we answer this question on podcasts or any interviews, because he always says he gets a lot more hate than he deserves. Which, I mean, I don't know the younger Bob, I guess. I mean, I think that's where a lot of these stories come from a little bit. But now, I mean, the practices, I mean, they're the worst practices I've ever done in my swimming career. But I don't think it's not all the time that it's bad. Sure, we have our super bad training blocks, but when we are getting rested, it's not like we're still just getting pounded in the ground by his practices and stuff. Like he'll throw us a bone every once in a while, especially during taper. I mean, Eddie always had these things called numbers, and it's essentially you'll come into the pool. I mean, they don't have a practice for you. They just tell you a number of how many yards you have to swim. And, I mean, you just do whatever you want until you reach that amount. So, I mean, Bob has kind of adopted that from Eddie, which I think a lot of us who are here with Eddie just love, because those are the best practices, because you kind of can just you just get done in under like 40 minutes usually, and then you're just kind of not messing around really, but I mean, usually you're just joking around a lot more than you would in a normal practice with everyone in the water. So those tend to be the most fun practices. But I mean, he definitely pushes you when you are having hard practices, and he writes some pretty grueling practices to do. But I I mean, it's all for him to see us have the success that he wants the best for us out of. So I mean, he's always pushing us, but it's always just to get the most out of us. And I mean, he tells us, I mean, all the time. It's just he has a slogan, kind of just do your work. Doesn't have to be like your best work, but as long as you show up, and kind of what Sanders was alluding to, kind of as long as you show up, and it doesn't matter if you love it or hate it or anything. Like just show up and give it your all. I mean, you're going to benefit from that no matter what. So I mean, it doesn't really matter how hard it is as long as you just show up and just give it your all. I mean, yeah, it's going to be painful, but 10 minutes, 20 minutes after practice, you'll be fine. So I mean, you just got to push through. But I mean, he helps motivating us a lot while we're in the water and letting us know it's not just kind of us swimming there by ourselves, trying to motivate ourselves. Like he helps a lot, kind of hyping us up, I guess, a little bit and get us going. He's not just here's a super hard practice, enjoy it. Like he's there, kind of essentially. I mean, he's not in the water doing it with us, but he's definitely helping us get through it.
Exactly, and it makes you obviously better and improves you, and you got a really cool opportunity I want to quickly ask you about here shortly, but you also did mention taper. I think if I would have to guess, all three of you guys would agree as swimmers that's probably the best time as a swimmer is going through taper. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, taper is awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard great things about taper. The one time you guys get to do less yards and prepare for obviously big meets. So
Yeah.
yeah, but one last kind of question for Will, and then we'll kind of wrap up the last two questions, that just more broad for each of you guys. So Will, you got the chance to compete for Team USA over in, I believe, Berlin, correct?
Yep.
What was that like, and how cool was it getting to experience that and getting to swim for Team USA?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just in a position where, once again, I was just super, super blessed and grateful to even make that meet. I mean, going into our trials meet, I knew I had a good chance at making a team, but nothing was guaranteed. I knew I still had to swim pretty well to do that. And I mean, thankfully, I was able to be selected for a team and get the opportunity to race again because, I mean, who knows if I wouldn't have maybe had that same success if I didn't get to swim that again. And I mean, it was just, I've always thought of it as being such a great honor to kind of represent more than just your club. Like, I think even when I was younger in age group, competing for Team Indiana, like that was always something that I took like a very high honor in because it was just okay. I'm not just representing my team; like I'm representing my whole state now, and then taking that to the next level, making a USA team. I mean, I think me and probably every other USA age group swimmer dreams of having their last name on their cap with the USA flag. And I mean, that was such a big dream of mine. And finally being able to, I think, race with the USA flag and my actual last name on it was, I think, one of the greatest like moments of my swimming career, taking out the times or anything. Like just being able to put that cap on and represent and race there was just the coolest experience ever. And I mean, I was just had to just be grateful in the moment. Like I don't think I was too nervous for how my swims were gonna be or anything like that. Like I was just kind of trying to soak it in because before the meet started, I was like, well, this could be one and done. Like this could be my only time representing. Like I just need to kind of fully indulge and just kind of soak it all in, and that's what I did. And I think that kind of allowed me to kind of just find this next level where I mean I wasn't putting all this stress on myself of making a team, going a certain time. I mean, I was just going out there and just gonna try and do my best and just try and represent. I mean the results kind of handled themselves, thankfully, and I mean, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, no, I bet. And hopefully you do get to experience it again. If it's for Worlds, if it's for the Olympics. Obviously, I know that those are some of your probably next goals. But to really kind of wrap up, I do want to ask you guys two last questions because obviously all of you guys have swam for a really long time, and because of it, like, what are some lessons that you've learned from the sport, and how much does it mean to kind of do the same sport as your brothers?
Um, well, just doing the same sport as Coleman and Will is awesome, and like just having, I don't know, like you can talk to your teammates and like we all know, I don't know what each other do, and it's cool to have my past teammates reach out to me about like Will's success now, and like, oh, it's so cool watching your brother, and I don't know, just growing up and being able to do that was awesome with Coleman and Will. Um, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But tips and tricks for the future generation of swimmers would be just I don't know, like get some good sleep before practice, or else that 5 a.m. alarm is going to come hard and fast. And eat well, and stretch and keep your body healthy. I don't know. Yeah, just really focus. And like, if you want to take your game to the next level, like really just study yourself and your events, and have your parents record your races or something, and you can critique yourself. And Will's done a great job with that. That's all. That's all my advice.
I think there is just echoing what Sanders said about, well, us all growing up doing the same sport just made us all closer, I think. And it's like we got two built-in teammates that, I mean, we could talk about swimming with them anytime, and the conversation always goes there. It just always does. So it's fun, and we all have that in common, and we can all talk about it. We all like talking about it. I think we all like talking about it. but some advice for future swimmers, kind of what Sanders said. Also, there's so many tools out there now and so much content out there. People just making videos, stroke technique. You can find videos of the best people swimming and watch them and compare your stroke, and there's different tools out there to just help improve your swimming. And also just making sure you're eating enough food. That's what I would say. I just remember high school. I was always hungry, and I thought that was a normal feeling. But just eat enough food. Just always eat more.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, swimming was a great place where, yeah, I mean, I think it was always hard. I think for me, trying to kind of fit in with them too, especially when we were younger, because I think Coleman and Sanders were always. I mean, I'm the youngest, so I'm always gonna get the short end of the stick here. And I mean, it was always me trying to fit in with them or kind of hang out with them because I mean they were the cool older brothers that I always wanted to be around. So, I mean, swimming I think it gave me the opportunity and kind of gave me that place where we could hang out, and not like it was an even playing field, but it was like it gave me a spot where I mean they were able to like kind of bring me in to their posse a little bit when we were swimming because I was able to be just as fast as like some of their friends or whatever. So we were able to be like play the same games when we were in the summer league or whatever. And that I mean that gave us a good place to I think hang out with each other and kind of really able to bond. That's not something that's in school or something else because we were all going through different stuff with that parts of our life. So for me, it gave me a great chance to, I think, kind of hang out and bond with Coleman and Sanders over something that's not related to school or anything like that. And I mean, I think my only advice would be echoing what our dad always said to us, which is just have fun and be a good teammate. I think those are some of the most important things you can do. I mean, if you put too much stress on your swimming or your results or anything like that, it just turns into it just starts feeling like a job, and you don't get to actually enjoy the sport at all. And I think swimming is a super fun sport when you just get to kind of enjoy the moment of it. And I mean, yeah, just being there, because these people who you swim with are going to be your best friends for the rest of your life. So just supporting them and really valuing the relationships that you have, because I mean, a lot of the guys who I swim age group with up until now are still my best friends. And I mean, I wouldn't trade that time away for the whole world.
Exactly, and it gave you guys a lot of memories. It gave you guys a lot of time together. It also probably, like we talked about earlier, made you guys more motivated, but also more competitive against each other, which obviously you guys still are that way now, which I think is awesome. And sorry that this episode went quite a bit longer than I thought it was. I really do appreciate each of you guys joining. Really hope you guys had fun. Yeah, but one thing I always say to anyone that ever joins is if you ever want to come back on, talk more about swimming, would absolutely love to do so with any of you guys. But yeah, I really appreciate all of you guys joining. Really hope you guys have fun staying competitive with each other. Hopefully, get a couple more races, getting to maybe play a couple of these other games as well. We'll have to maybe get a recap of how that goes next time. But really appreciate you guys joining. Hope you had fun, and thanks again for joining.
Thanks for having us
Yeah,
on.
thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for having us. That was a good time.
Absolutely, and that is a wrap to episode number 473. Thank you again to Sanders, Will, and Coleman for joining, and tune in to the next episode.